Hello everyone. Welcome to our channel that explores legends, mysteries, and dark stories from around the world. Today, we are diving into the deep and dangerous waters of the legend of the Flying Dutchman, a cursed ship doomed to wander the seas for all eternity. If you're ready for this journey, get prepared, because this story may be as terrifying as it is fascinating. The tale of the Flying Dutchman dates back to the 17th century. Legend says it all began in 1641, in the treacherous waters of the Cape of Good Hope, a region at the southernmost tip of the African continent. But before we get into the details of the curse, it's important to understand the historical setting. At that time, trade between Europe and the East was vital to the great European powers. Sailing across the seas, however, was no easy task. The ocean was a dangerous and unpredictable place where many ships never returned. The Cape of Good Hope, as it came to be known, was especially feared by sailors. Originally called the Cape of Storms because of its violent tempests, the region was an important shortcut for ships seeking faster trade routes between Europe and Asia. However, the strong winds and monstrous waves turned this passage into a true game of chance. Many ships disappeared in those treacherous waters. It is in this setting that we meet Captain Hendrik van der Decken, a Dutch commander of the East India Company. He had completed a profitable voyage to India and was on his way back home, his ship loaded with spices, silk, dyes, and other valuable goods. But as he approached the Cape of Good Hope, the weather quickly deteriorated, and a monstrous storm formed on the horizon. The crew, seasoned veterans of these perilous seas, begged the captain to wait for the storm to pass before continuing the journey. But Van der Decken, known for his stubbornness and pride, ignored their pleas. Determined to reach Amsterdam as quickly as possible, he ordered the ship to press on, defying the forces of nature. As the vessel pushed forward, the waves grew increasingly violent, tossing the ship around like a toy. The terrified crew began to rebel. A mutiny broke out, and the men tried to seize control of the ship. Van der Decken, overcome with uncontrollable fury, did not back down. He killed the leader of the mutiny and threw his body into the sea, and then, in a moment of desperation and madness, he shouted to the heavens that he would complete his voyage, even if it took him until Judgment Day. It was at that moment, according to legend, that the fate of Van der Decken and his crew was sealed. The sea swallowed them whole, and the ship vanished without a trace. Some say an angel, or, in another version, the devil himself, appeared before Van der Decken and cursed him. He and his crew were doomed to sail the oceans forever, never able to anchor in any port until the end of time. Now the ship, known as the Flying Dutchman, has become a legend of the seas. Described as a ghostly vessel, it is said to appear sailing both above and beneath the waves, always shrouded in a dark aura. Its crew, once human, is now made up of lost souls, condemned to wander eternally. According to legend, Captain Van der Decken no longer even remembers that he was once human, having become a sea entity himself, along with his cursed crew. The only thing that could break this curse would be the true love of a woman for the captain. However, Van der Decken has just one chance every 10 years. He may set foot on land for only 24 hours, and if he fails to find love within that short time, the curse continues. The most curious part of this legend is that it did not remain just folklore. There are countless historical reports of people claiming to have seen the Flying Dutchman. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1881, when the future King George V of England and his crew reported seeing the ghost ship during a voyage around the world. They described a strange red light surrounding the masts and sails of a ship sailing about 200 meters away. The event terrified everyone on board, and the next morning, a sailor who had been on lookout duty at the bow suffered a fatal accident, falling from the mast and dying instantly. Coincidence? Perhaps. But the fact remains that over the centuries, many similar reports have emerged, always with the same pattern. The appearance of the Flying Dutchman was followed by tragedy. Another famous report occurred in 1939, when several witnesses along the coast of South Africa claimed to have seen the ghost ship during a storm. The story circulated in the newspapers of the time, reinforcing the belief that the Flying Dutchman truly existed, or at least that it was a harbinger of death and destruction. But could all of this simply be a product of the imagination? Sailors have always been known for their superstitions, and the sea, with all its vastness and mystery, has always been fertile ground for supernatural tales. Perhaps the legend of the Flying Dutchman was a way to warn sailors about the dangers of pride and recklessness. Or perhaps the ship really does exist, sailing the seven seas in search of lost souls to add to its ghostly crew. So, what do you think? Do you believe the Flying Dutchman is just a story to frighten sailors, or is there something deeper and more real behind this legend? Leave your comment below. I'd love to know your opinion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us a lot to keep bringing more mysterious stories for you. And stay tuned, because soon I'll bring more news and new mysteries for us to uncover together. See you next time.